Are you tired of this happening while taming a dire bear? My name's Techwarsa, and today I'll show you how to tame a dire bear, and if you stick around I'll tell you a couple of neat things about a tamed dire bear. First off, let's prepare. The food you're going to need in order from most effective to least effective. Superior kibble, giant bee honey, raw mutton, raw prime meat, cooked lamb chop, cooked prime meat. The giant bee honey works almost identically to the kibble, so I'd recommend either of those or raw prime meat. It wouldn't hurt to have some cooked prime meat, just in case. You'll need around 130 narcotics per hour during the tame. At a default taming rate, a level 30 can take between 15 minutes and an hour, a level 60 can take between 24 minutes and 2 hours, a level 120 can take between half an hour and 3 hours, and a level 150 can take between 45 minutes and 3.5 hours. These times are the difference between the kibble and raw meat. Once they're tamed, they're omnivores and will eat both meat and berries. You can technically use berries while taming, however, they take the same amount of time as raw meat with a higher quantity and lower effectiveness. The recipe for superior kibble is 1 large egg, 2 citronelle, 2 rare mushrooms, 1 prime meat jerky, 1 sap, 5 fiber, and 1 water. Dire bears are one of the more difficult creatures to knock out, and it's not for an obvious reason. Their torpor stat is very high relative to their HP. This problem gets worse with higher levels because wild creatures select levels to put in each stat except torpor, which is based on the total number of levels the creature has put in. So a wild dire bear can easily have a torpor to HP ratio which is higher than the torpor to damage ratio trank arrows have, which is 4.5 torpor damage to 1 damage. So, until you have a long neck rifle and trank ammo, I'd recommend only attempting to tame dire bears around level 35 or lower. If you're very careful with the timing of your shots, you may be able to knock out as high as level 80, but there's a high chance you will just kill it. Above level 100 is just not feasible with trank arrows. For the rest of this video, I'll be using a long neck rifle because it is the easier taming tool. The most straightforward way to tame a dire bear is to find a mount that is fairly tanky or fairly quick that you can use weapons from the back of and just pelt the dire bear with trank ammo while keeping away from it. Dire bears do hit hard and aren't slow by any means, but a raptor can keep ahead of them fairly easily. If you're feeling adventurous, you can preset a large bear trap and lure the dire bear into it so you can get some easy free shots on it. Speaking of large bear traps, you can expand this into making a trap for the dire bear to close it off. This first trap uses a line of 4 stone gateways with doors on either side and a large bear trap in the middle. Just lure the dire bear into the large bear trap and close the doors on either side of the trap. Just make sure not to get caught in the trap yourself. If you're looking for a cheaper disposable traps, there are a couple of options for you. You can preset some stone pillars in this square-ish shape around a large bear trap, leaving one side open. Once you have a dire bear inside, close it off with your remaining pillar. If you're not adverse to using metal, you can achieve a similar result with metal billboards. You could also attempt it with wooden billboards, but they don't have enough HP to stand up to a dire bear. You could also set up a 1x1 box trap made of stone with a ramp up one side of it. If your settings allow for it, a dire bear can be picked up by a wyvern or a quetzal and lugged back to a pre-built taming pen. Whichever way you decide to use, pelt the dire bear with tranq ammo until it's unconscious. Put your food of choice and narcotics in its inventory and maintain its torpor so it doesn't wake up until it's tamed. If this video was helpful, make sure you like and share it. Your support really helps out the channel. Now for the neat facts that I promised earlier. The dire bear saddle can be learned at level 45 and is crafted in your inventory with hide, fiber, and cementing paste. Their primary attack is a bite, and their secondary attack is a claw swipe. This attack causes your bear to come to a stop, but it deals a bit more damage. The crouch button causes the dire bear to stand up on its hind legs, but this really isn't an attack. Dire bears are good at gathering a variety of resources, especially with their secondary attack with its higher damage. They're very good at gathering organic polymer, fiber, raw meat, and raw prime meat, and okay at gathering berries, hide, and chitin. Dire bears also have a couple of utility functions. They provide some hypothermic and hyperthermic insulation to nearby survivors, which decreases with distance. They also serve the function of being the ultimate honey collectors. They collect honey at a 3-time rate with their secondary attack without damaging the hive, and they have the added benefit of having protection from worker bees. This doesn't extend to the giant worker bees on the Crystal Isle map. There is an untamable polar bear variant found in cold caves on various maps. These bears use the pre-TLC version of the dire bear model. There are tameable dire polar bears found on Ragnarok and Valguero maps. There's a spirit bear located in Life's Labyrinth on the Ragnarok map. This variant acts as a boss creature and thus cannot be tamed. There's also an aberrant variant which first appeared on the Aberration map. That's all I've got for today. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and have yourselves a very good day.